Good. Okay, so first I'm going to quickly show you, for some of you who are having difficulties accessing Conda from the terminal. So if you open Visual Studio Code, you see mine on my left side here, it shows base. So if I type Conda command, it should work just fine. And if it is not working for you, you can follow the steps below. I'm going to show you how to get that activated. So the reason that the Conda command is not working for you, because for all the things like on Windows, it's on Linux, it's much easier. On Windows, you will have to have the so-called environment variable, because when you type anything using the command line, it's going to show certain direction on Windows. And if it is not there, then it's not going to work, because it cannot find the program, although it's installed, but it's not by default being loaded. So there's a so-called a path variable that you need to define in order to be able to look to find the one. So if you go to your the search, and then you can just type env variable, something like that, var. Just type env, and then it should show up asking you edit the system environment variable or something. So if you click this one, and then it should pop up this window. At the bottom right here, there's a button environment variables. Click this one, and this is where it's going to show you. And you should let me see if I have any. You should go scroll down to find the path. There should be a variable called path. You see that? PATH. You can double click, or you can click the edit button. Either one is fine. So it's going to pull up. So this is actually the so-called system variables, system path. So when you type a command, you know where it's going to find? It's going to look for those folders. So when I type conda, it's going to find conda.exe somewhere. It must exist from here. If it doesn't, then it's going to find it. But you might notice me here, I have one called C users, my name, miniconda scripts. This is where this one is coming from. So if you have never done it before, your conda will know. Even your terminal, sometimes you type git, it doesn't work because it works on the anaconda prompt, but it doesn't work on the terminal. The reason is because your program is not in the system path. This is called system path. For Mac computer, I don't remember. Like need to act in the base script or something. But so what you need to do is show you where you can find all the programs. So if it install anything and then it doesn't show up, it's probably because it's not in the system variable. So if you go to the C drive, you users, and then your name. So because when we install Miniconda, right? See, I find this one here. And Miniconda, if you scroll down here, there's no conda.exe, but there's a python.exe. So the conda.exe actually is under the scripts directory. So if you open these scripts, and then you should be able to find the one conda.exe. So this is basically the program that's executing in the conda environment. And because this directory is not in the system path, it cannot find this one. For me, I already added, so it can find it. But I can show you, like, you wait for a second. Let me open this one and let me delete this. Okay, and it's gone. Right now, if I don't do anything, let me go to my downloads directory. It might work or not. I forgot how I did it, but let me just test it, see if it works. If it's not activating the conda environment, it should. Oh, it's still. I think it's automatically activated, but yeah, this one anyway. I think I somewhere else like have the settings, but so what you need to do is to find this directory, and then just copy it, then come to this environment variable, and just click the path. So from here, go down to the end, and then click new, then Control V. Paste, click OK, OK, then apply, okay, and then close your Visual Studio Code and then reopen. Then it should be activated. So give it a try, see if it works. So I'm going to basically close this one. Yeah, directory. You don't need the .exe, just the directory. Something, the miniconda scripts, and then that's it. So next time, if you open Visual Studio Code again, it should work. Yes? Okay, so now you don't need to use the terminal anymore. All you need is just open the Visual Studio Code, and then you can do everything from here. You never have to leave that. And this is the same for any program. So if you install anything, you want it to be able to accessible through the command line, then you will need to have the path variable. It can be conda, it can be git, it can be pretty much anything. Anything that has a .exe, by default, it is not under, the reason is sometimes you have to add it because if the program is not under here, your C drive, if it is installing to this program file, it's automatic because it's going to source all the .exe under this one here. And because Miniconda is installed outside, it's under user directory, so it's not there. And that's why it cannot find the program. So let me show you one more time here. Go to this environment variable, and then go to the path, right? So if you look at all the file paths in here, right? You see the program files, program 86, Windows, Python 3.10, systems. Some of those are actually the default ones. So if your program is installed into those, then you don't have to do anything. But Miniconda in this case is not. It's being installed to under user folder. It's not added by default. Not working? Why? Where is it? Huh? Miniconda e-scripts. Did you close it, reopen Visual Studio Code? After you edit, you should just close everything and then reopen. Open, close Visual Studio Code, and then reopen it. Or you can open the terminal. Either one is fine. It should work because the Visual Studio Code is in the terminal. So just open the terminal or Visual Studio Code. It should work. All right, so that's about adding that to the system variable. Sometimes you might have other error messages, like saying permission error or something like that. If it happens, let me know. I can help you fix the error. But okay, so that's pretty much about accessing the command line from the program. So next, let me quickly finishing up the custom domain URL that I showed you last time. Works now? Okay. And so as I show you, I have the custom URL. So again, let me click here, settings, right? Pages. And I already have this one, geohead.xyz. So if I copy it, paste it somewhere, it should go to my website right now, right? So the reason that is available because when I set this one, so pay attention here, geohead.xyz, and it's actually acting a file to this GitHub Pages branch. If I click this one, GitHub Pages branch, there's a file called cname, okay? This is super important. If you do add a custom domain, you will need to add this cname to here so that whenever we push the changes, the file is there. Otherwise, you want to actually need to set the domain every time. So what you need to do is to go to your main repository, and then under the docs folder, you add this cname, okay? Don't do it unless you have a custom domain. If you're just using a github.io, you don't have to add this one. So how many of you did the custom domain? Nobody? Okay, that's fine. Then I don't have to cover it. So if you want to in the future, make sure you add this one. If you don't, people will take over your domain. It's kind of security because it doesn't check who is the owner. So because in there you're pointing to GitHub, whoever added to the account, your domain is gone. So make sure that you do it very quickly. I add this one. So now everything is right now using that domain. So next I can quickly update all the URL. So pay attention to this one, right? So this is the original one that I have. Username.github.io and then the project name. So right now, if I open this one, pay attention. See where is it going? go to my custom domain name. So it's no longer the GitHub.io. So if I really want to, I can update all these URL. So I can just, or here, now I can change it. So I can click the settings. I say use the GitHub pages. Okay. Now I have this one. I hit the /, move it, save. Now I have this one. But there will be some things still left, like for example here. So if you want, I can just replace them all at once. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code, and then come here. I can just search where it appear, like couple locations, README, mkdocs, and also the README. So I'm going to just remove and change them all at once. https colon then g.yg. I can replace all of them. So now basically I update my using my custom URL and like this. So update the one on my main page, README file, and also on the mkdocs. So now everything will be automatically using my new URL. So again, I'm going to show you one more time. This is what you should do. Avoid break your repo. So you should always use the pull request. Although right now you don't really have much stuff, you just git and then push. That's fine, but that's not recommended. So when it gets more complicated, you want to be safe. Test it. Right now, this is only a txt file. Doesn't really matter, but I'm going to do it very quickly just to show you how I do it every day. So what I'm doing here, I can just git check out -b, basically have a new branch, and then I can say, for example, domain. The name doesn't matter, it's just a label. Okay. Now I'm creating a new branch. So you can either also use this one here, you see, now it's the green color, and this is the new one, or you can just click this button here to create a new one, but usually I just use the one command line. So once you're done, then I can come here, add a new message, you can say add update custom name file, okay, and then just Control Enter, push the branch. Okay, then you can go to refresh the pages. This is usually better because when you are create a new version, then this pull request will show up on the so-called release notes. Otherwise, you don't have nothing. So let me show you here. Like I update this one, compare. Now I can take a look clearly, see like what files that I have changed, right? Update the URL, and then everything looks good. If you want, you can write a description here. Update from GitHub IO to like that, and then just git pull request. Let it run all the the testing. Once it's done, then you can merge the pull request. In this case, I'm pretty sure not going to be any issue. If you can merge it, if you want to, you can also turn on the settings. Let me show you here. Settings. There should be branches. General. To be pretty quick, so only take a minute or two. Right now, you see all the green check marks. Pretty good. So here, I can just brush and confirm emojis. Then it's gone. It's done. So basically, now if I come back to here to my home page, now I have the new URL. And once you're done, make sure you switch the branch back to the master. What I'm doing here right now, I'm still this domain branch. If you try to git pull, it should not work because after this merge, that domain branch is deleted, no longer exists. So if you hit enter, it's going to show you like blah blah configuration, something not be fetched because when you merge, it's automatically deleted. So what you should do is to switch back to the master. We git check out main because I'm calling the main branch or master, right? And hit enter. going to tell you switch to the main. Your branch is one behind, blah, one commit. You can either click this button here, sync changes, or usually for me, I just type command line. Okay, git pull. Done. So this is more like the cycle, how you do things. Create a new branch, make some changes, push it, and then make sure all the testing pass, merge, and then on locally, switch back to the main branch, git pull, done, and just continue. This is kind of the general procedure, how it's being done. And so earlier I showed you the pull request. Now I can quickly show you, for example, how you create a new release. We talk about more later, but for now, I'm just going to quickly show you how you can do that quickly, create a new release. So if you get text, it's going to show you. We come back to here, show you. Right now it's 0.2, right? I can bump the new release. So click push text, see if there's anything. So I'm going to push. Yes, there's nothing. So right now it's 0.02, so I can actually bump my new version. Quickly conda activate here. And so previously we used to already have installed, when you're using a cookie character, you used to already have this one, bump my version. If you type this command, you're going to see the command unable to get the next version. Let me see. Bump my version, and then bump this one. I'm going to create to this page is going to increase from 0.02 to 0.03. If you like minor, it's going to increase to 0.1. If it is major, it's going to increase to 1.0. So major dot minor dot page. Okay. So for me, I can just increase page if it works. Yeah, bump by vote. Oh, so we add a bump. It should work now. It's already be committed. So now if I check my this one here, it should be 0.03 now. Yeah. And then so what I need to do is just simply git push text. It's going to push the 0.03 text to GitHub. And then I can also type git push. It should be already clean. So now basically we are releasing the new version. So if you come back to GitHub here, and then go to releases, go to text, it is one, 0.03. And then I can just come here, create a new release. Everything is automatic, so pay attention, right? If I click generate release notes, see, all the pull requests previously I added is automatically generated as release notes. So I don't actually have to write. What it is doing basically is going to all your GitHub repo and then look at all the pull requests, basically the commit history from the last release. So earlier, right, the previous one was from 0.02, right? And I have added a couple pull requests, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3. So all the pull requests has been automated here. But you might notice I also have other commits. Those commits never get into the release history because I push it directly to the repo. I did not create a pull request. And this is why I recommend they use pull request, because you'll be captured in the history when you make a new release. You don't do that, it's going to show up in your commit history, but it will not show up in the release. Like, people have to go into your commit history to figure out what have you changed. But this is the release history that usually when you, for example, install a new version, even for example, you install new iOS update, right? It's going to show you like what changes, blah, blah, blah. You can have a list. So it's better to have that one rather than people have to go into the detail of the source code to see what have changed. And also you automatically, right, you have this, you can click and then you're going to navigate to that specific pull request. You can also click this one to see the full change log. So this one shows you all the changes that you made since the last release. Right, so you can see 35 file changes, and this gives you the overview, right, about everything. This is why It's like version control. It's like you control everything. You keep the entire history. So now if I publish the release, it will be available immediately. And if you go to the home page again, now look at this one, 0.03. And GitHub is going to run the GitHub actions. It's going to publish to PyPI automatically. So look at this one, v.03. This is where it's going to publish. So I don't have to worry about anything outside GitHub. All I need to do is to focus on your development, adding new features, use Visual Studio Code. I don't even have to use the terminal. And then just push to GitHub, and then it handles the rest. You don't have to worry about how to publish, how to update the website, because it be used automatically. This is nice thing about all the so-called continuous integration is that all the virtual machine, all the robots do things for you. You see, it's done. So now if you click, you're able to see where see all the details, like how it was being updated. But you can certainly go to your home page, and if you click this one here, PyPI, look something. If you click, see this latest version. You can see the release history that I just released a couple minutes ago. See the original source. This is the whole cycle, how you do the development, how you do the release, and integrate with GitHub Actions, PyPI with all the token and other stuff. Right? So this is the whole procedure. And we haven't really added any function yet, but this is pretty much about, for example, try to build a house, but I show you how to build a footprint and how to eventually, when the house is done, how do you tell USPS that I have a new house, like, or whatever, with transfer, and the county have the record that right now the house is yours, and you can keep renovation, you can do all kinds of things. More like the workflow is like this. But how do you want to build your house is up to you. The functionality, what you want people to use, can spend the majority of time doing that. But now the rest is being taken care of, so you can focus your real work. And this is the remaining weeks is for us to continuously add some functions into it. How to test it locally, how to add some functions, how to add some classes, and how do you test those functions that you added, and how do you make notebooks available for other people to test it, and how can other people utilize your packages. The whole procedure about adding materials to your package. Okay, any questions? Easy, right? So next, let's talk about like real. So in the next, I think a week or two, we're gonna introduce the basics about Python. So if for you, if you're new, then you really need to spend time because we're going to move really, really fast. We're going to spend a week or two to finish the content like I used to teach the whole semester in the 312 intro to JS programming. But this is more like 500 level, 400 level, so we don't have time to cover the whole day. If you already know Python, great. Use it as an opportunity to recap what we have learned in the past. And if you can understand everything, you don't need to look at ChatGPT, internet, you can finish everything. Great. If not, then probably you still need more practice. So although you need a little bit, but sometimes it's good to practice a little bit more to really understand better. And I'm going to show you, I have some of those notebooks in here. If you go to my, right now, geohate.xyz, on the left side here, there's a menu, Python basics. So this one here, I added some notebooks. So I'm going to quickly go through some of those. We're going to cover how the variable data types, these looping, conditional statements, function, classes, file handling. And these are all very common. So if you really want to develop some packages to have some functionality, you need to understand all those stuff. Otherwise, you will still be developing very basic stuff. You cannot go beyond the basics. You need more advanced. These are all the pure Python stuff. There's nothing about geospatial yet. It's just the syntax, the core about the Python programming. And there are a lot more into it. So for you guys, I recommend there are two ways you can do that. If you're lazy, you can come here and then just say open in Colab. Then you open this one in Google Colab. Then you can run through it. The second way I would recommend is to pull this repo to your local computer and then just test it out. All right, so you just go to my repo, click this green button, or you just open in Visual Studio Code, whatever, then pull the repo to a computer, then you should have this one open in Visual Studio Code. So for me, here, under the docs directory, so it's under the docs directory, Python. So we're going to have some data in here, and we have a total of 10. So you can start from the first one. The first one just show you where this one coming from. It's from this book's Python Crash Course. If you want, you can buy the copy. But I show you all the source code here, so you don't need to buy. You can just follow through quickly, get an understanding about the basics. And it's very important that you actually run the code, understand it. Don't just read and then think you can memorize. Okay, it will never work until you run the code, you test it, and then get some errors. You fix the error, and then get your hands dirty. Programming is not learned by reading and memorizing. It's by practicing. Make sure that you spend time, run through the novel, and know exactly what they want is to. So start with number 2 here. Also, there's a couple shortcuts, and this we already covered in the past. The Shift Enter, Control Enter, Alt Enter, and the tab, Shift tab or something like that. When we go through the notebook, I will highlight some of those shortcuts that you certainly need to understand. Otherwise, you want to click the button all the time. Okay. So open the first one, and once you open the notebook, upper right, you see this one saying detecting kernels. Okay. Whenever you're trying to run something, you will need a kernel. A kernel basically tells which Python program you want to run. Because we use Conda, so Conda has multiple Python environments. I can show you here. So make sure you understand the logic why we use the Conda environment, right? So we install mini Conda. So pay attention here. Mini Conda 3. And if you scroll down, you should be able to see this Python.exe. So this is the main Conda environment. The Python environment comes with Conda. So if you want to test it, for example, let me show you. I open the terminal. And if you just type Python, it's actually coding this one. It's coding this Python.exe because this is the basic environment. It's 11.5. But if you go up, there's another directory here called envx. So this is where the environment that I install. This one also has multiple environments inside. So if you come to the geo and we scroll down, you should be able to find another Python.exe. They are very different. They are separate. They are isolated. So the kernel basically means which Python.exe do you want to run? Because the Python.exe is the program that you use to run. So basically, you have multiple versions of Python on your computer. So right now, for example, if I open this one in the terminal and pay attention, if you just type Python, you are not coding this one. So here, right? If I type Python, it's still calling the base environment. So you need to make sure that if I exit, you need to Conda activate geo. So now you get into the environment. If you type Python again, this one right now is calling the Python under this geo environment. So pay attention to this version here. This one is Python version 3.11.7. The base environment is 3.5. Okay, so you understand there are multiple Python environments on your computer. So when you are running that in Visual Studio Code, you need to tell it which one you're going to use because depends on the environment, you might have different packages installed. So I want to use this one. So this is one way you can run this one. The second way will be like this. So even if I don't activate the Conda environment, I can still call this one. So let me show you one more time. This is more like basics, computer basics. So how do I call this program? Python.exe. You actually do it like this. Period, /. So main means you're in your current directory. And then if you type Python.exe, okay, so I don't need to activate the Conda environment. I tell the terminal or the PowerShell, look into the current directory. There is a Python.exe exists. Execute this one. So if I exit again, if you don't do that, you just type Python. This one comes from the system directory. The system, the past variable, if you remember earlier at the beginning, I added miniconda scripts and then .exe. So it's not the one we want because this one doesn't install all the packages that we want. So it's a long answer, but I hope you understand. This is the whole point of using virtual environment because you can have lots of Python.exe and they are all separated. So when you are running something, you need to tell. It's still saying like detecting the kernel. And for you guys, it should be automatic. It should detect which one you want to use. So for me, I will just select if it is not showing this one, it should pull up another one. Select Python environment something. I forgot like what is. To be another menu, you just select the first one. So for me, I will just select the exe, and then it's going to spinning for a couple seconds because it's going to find all the packages. And it should not be too long. If it is too long, something is wrong. You can just close it and then reopen. If this one keeps spinning, that means your terminal is not working. Funny, so mine is not working. Anyway, so let me reopen again. Hopefully it works. So you want to get into the root directory of my package. And then I can just go here, so all settings, open in Visual Studio Code. Hopefully it works this time. Usually after you select the first time, the next time it should be automated. If it's not, you can just click this one. Funny. Something is bugging book. Sometimes something gets stuck. Any of you can select the online environment. Is it working? Huh. Let me see. Yeah, if it is, if it's not finishing spinning, cannot run it. It's going to stuck in there. So in this case, for now, I'm going to use Google Colab. I will. Oh, it's done. Good. Just take a little bit longer because I probably have a lot of packages installed. So now I can. You see, I can execute it. So this button here is to play execute, and there's also this one can move up and down. But usually, what you want to do is just hover your mouse in here, and then just press Shift Enter, and you will go to the next one. So you can basically continue. So this one is about variable. So you define a variable in Python is something equal to something. So Python is executing from the right to the left. So what this one is, when it's executing this line, is actually executing this part and then passing this content to the variable name. So Python variable name is you can choose any name, but you need to follow the convention. The naming convention is that you don't start a variable with a number, and you can start with an underscore if you want, and it can be uppercase, it can be lowercase, and don't use any weird characters. Otherwise, you're going to run into issue. Don't use any reserved keywords. For example, if, else, while, for, some of those things you don't want to like use as a variable. So again, I just run this one. Shift Enter is going to go to the next one, or Control Enter. So if you're beginners, try to read through the text. We won't have time to go through all the details. Like I said, we're gonna go through very quickly in the next this week and next to finishing all the basics. So make sure you practice. And also the variable name, so make sure you don't have typo. If you have typo, it's not going to work. So also this one here is commented out. So if you're in the novel environment, commenting out means just a comma, it's not executing. So you can just press Control slash on your keyboard to uncomment it. Control slash. Control slash. Okay. So if you run this one, it should not work because this variable doesn't exist because you have a typo. So make sure that you understand how to actually run the code, variables, and you can change the variable. The variable can be overwritten. If you overwrite the variable, then the variable is no longer exist in the memory. So make sure that you understand everything that you are running in Python have some pointer in the memory. If it doesn't exist, for example, if I restart my kernel, so for example here, if I clear, restart everything, make sure that you need to rerun from the beginning to the end. Otherwise, it's not going to work because you have cleared everything in the memory. It's clear out. And if you have a long script, usually I will come here, I just click this one, execute above cell. So I don't have to go from the beginning to the top one by one. You can just run them. Of course, if there's any error, you need to fix it. But it can help you quickly rerun everything so that you can have those variables available later for use in your program. So this is about just a string. String can be quoted by single quote and double quote. It doesn't matter. But it needs to be paired. Okay, so if you have a single quote, you need to end with a single quote. If you have a double quote, you need to end with double quote. But you cannot have two double quotes in the beginning and then another one at the end because it's not paired. You're going to have issues. So these are some of the things that you need to pay attention. You can see how this is being done, right? I can have two double quotes and then have a single quote inside. It's going to use the one at the beginning and the one at the end. And those, when you print it out, it will not appear in the output. So if you see this one, right, I have this variable and then print it out, but I can have another single quote inside. Okay, then it will show up. But you cannot have another double quote, right? A double quote and then something like this. Okay, it's going to show this red error. You cannot because you have this one, have another one here. It's done. It's not going to look for anything else. Anything after that is going to be an error. So if you really want it, you can have a hashtag at the end to comment it out. Then it should work. Okay. Huh? What do you mean? Oh yeah. So it depends on how many environment you have. You just pick basically the kernel is the .exe, Python.exe. So whatever content environment, for example, I select from here, you can select another kernel, and there should be one Python environment. So all your content environment should be this thing here. So you pay attention, like I have 4 Python environment. So Python 3.10, I think this one comes with ArcGIS Pro 3.10. I also Miniconda, the default one, right, 3.11. I also have the testing environment, also have Geo environment. So there should be multiple. You can choose whatever you want, but make sure you choose the one that has all the packages that you install in that environment. Otherwise, for example, you're trying to use LeafMap. You didn't install LeafMap in like Python.exe, it's not going to work. You need to choose the one that you actually. And variables, so you can define any variable by a single quote, double quotes, and then pass into a variable. So for example, first name, last name, and this one here is also very common. This is called f string. F string means you can have a placeholder in your string to be replaced by the variable. It's basically executing. So pay attention to this one here, right? I have f and then double quotes, and then you have a curly brackets, and then put the first name, space, last name. So when it's executing this one, it's going to replace anything within the curly brackets with the real content. So this is basically the full name. This is kind of like in Excel, you have 2 columns. The first column is the first name, second column is last name. You can have full name, and then Excel you can have a formula like first name plus last name, like that. And this one is very, very common. You want to see this quite a lot in the Python coding. This is called f string. It's very powerful because you don't have to worry about the things in here there. You can just fill it with different content. So for example, here I can change it to uppercase, for example. So within the parentheses, it can not only be the variable name, you can also run functions on top of that. Because right now, after it becomes available, I can just do, for example, I can say title. I can execute a title function. So title means you're going to change it to the title case. Make sense? I can do the same thing to here. So it's a variable name. I can just, if you type dot Usually after a couple seconds, you can see all the list of variables available. And you just hit tab, done. And pay attention what's the differences. Okay, now it's title case. You can also change it to upper, right? UPP, yeah. Do the same thing here, yeah. Right. So it's super flexible. So this app string, make sure you know how to use it. Later on when we are developing packages, sometimes you might want to have a placeholder. For example, you're going to have a welcome screen. And then when the user log into the database, you're going to say, welcome back, like good afternoon, good morning, blah, blah. Most likely, sometimes you're going to use the app string because you know what time it is, and then you're going to fill in the time. We'll talk about more later, but for now, just to let you know, this is so common, like something like in here, F string, and then uppercase, lowercase. You can also use the format. It's the same, except that format, you have the empty curly brackets in here, and then you're going to have a parentheses, and then follow the order. This is in the old Python version. But now you should just use this one. This is much easier to understand. So anything within the curly bracket is going to be replaced with those. And you can also add some special characters, white space, tabs, new lines. So \t means a tab. Basically, in Python in here, let me show you the differences. Right? If you're just trying to print out Python like this, and I can also have a tab. But this sometimes can be a little bit difficult to see how many you actually type. So it's better when you're trying to have something indented. It's better than using this. I would rather than something like this. Okay, \t. So escape. Escape means like special character. So here, \t means a tab. So if you execute, see, one tab. If you want to have multiple tabs, you can do again. \t, \t. You can use the escape sign multiple times. You're going to indent it multiple times. So this can be useful when you're trying to have some specific formatting. Otherwise, if you just use like your keyboard like this, usually not recommended because it's hard to tell how many you actually put. So use the special character. You can also have something like this. So let me show you here. I Python. If I want to write multiple lines, \n is also very common. So see here, \n, and then I can type Java script. It is. This might be very confusing because I only write one line, but when it's printed out, it's actually multiple lines. It is. So when you are interpreting this one, if anytime when you see the \n, there's a new line. And then it's going to go to Java, right? And then new line, C, and then new line, C+, right? So \n is very common when you're doing the formatting. So if your program have some message you want to print out, and you want to separate into multiple lines, you want to use the \n to separate into multiple lines. Make sense? If you don't have the \n, you need to like print out Python, go to a new line, print out C. It's not efficient. So you have something like this is one line to get the thing done. Sometimes you might want to remove some like white space at the beginning, white space at the end. Then you can use this strip function. R strip is remove the one on the right. Left strip is removing on the left. If just the strip function is going to remove everything on the left and on the right. So, for example, I can have something like this, right? Say print, and then I can have a lot of things. Python. I can also have a lot of stuff at the end. It is. So when I print out, it looks like this. But sometimes this is not what you want. You can actually do this. This is a string, right? You can just hit dot and then just strip parentheses. It's going to remove everything. So now you have the formatting. So sometimes you have some text on in your program, and you have some like a lot of white spaces. You don't want to show it. then you can just dock strip. It's going to remove something on the left, remove on the right. If you only want like removing on the right, you have the R strip. It's going to remove only on the right, right? So right now, if I execute this one, you see the left one is still there. The one on the right is gone, right? It's nothing in here. But if I don't use the strip function, then you want to have a lot of things printed out, right? Something on the left. Just a little bit see this one, right? Still here. Also the one on the left. So those are all the functions that you can apply to string, Python string, a string. And numbers are easy. You can just use the simple plus, minus. You can just enter the number. It should just work just like a calculator, right? You can plus, minus. This might seem all very basic, but your program, the package you're going to build is going to be built on top of this basic stuff. It's defining the variable, writing some function, coding some function, and writing some conditional statements built from like very basic ones. So make sure you go through some of these divided and exponential. For example, this is 3 to the power of 3. And sometimes you can write like this, or you can also use this, use the power function, power, POW, okay? So something like this, you can also get the same result. So there are multiple ways you can do that. For example, 2 to the power of 4. What's the result? 16. All right, 2 to the power of 4. So you can either use a function or you can use this way. And similarly, if you sometimes, this is the same as those mathematical equations. Make sure you understand which one has the priority. So if you're writing an equation like this, it's going to calculate this one first, and then plus, okay? Not 2 plus 3 and then multiply by 4. If you really want it, you need to have the parentheses, because all those operations has the order. Multiply has a higher order than the plus. So you have something like that, you want to do it very, very different. So I can also have this one here. Example, let's see, -4 and then plus 2. Okay, so what's the result? What's the result? Is it positive or negative? -3. Okay, 5 minus 8. Okay, this is simple mathematical equation. So if you really want it, for example, right? If we do this, the result will be different, right? What's the number now? 2, right? 5 minus 4, 1, and then plus. So these are the same like those mathematical equations. If you want to do that, you can make sure that you pay attention to the order. So oh, are we out of time? Okay, we're out of time. So I will see you on Wednesday. So make sure you go through the notebook, know how to download it, and run through it, understand. Especially if you're new, otherwise you might not be able to catch up in 2 weeks because there will be so much content about the Python basics. And then we'll start doing some geospatial stuff once we finish this one. Okay, see you